What's going on YouTube? Welcome, and I am LuboATM, and welcome to another Shrine of Secrets video here on the channel. This is a weekly upload every Wednesday where we go through the new shrine. We talk about all the perks that are on that shrine and whether it is worth your hard-earned shards to spend on any of these perks. So, not a bad shrine this week. Not amazing, not terrible, not really anything to write home about, but we'll get into it in more detail as we go through it. And then, as always, at the end, I'll kind of give you my recommendations of which ones you should get, which ones you should ignore, all that sort of stuff. So, as always, starting at the top, we've got Adam Francis's Teachable Deliverance. This gives you an 100% chance of unhooking yourself if you have been unhooked, or if you've unhooked someone else in the trial previously. And it does give you the broken status effect for 100 seconds after you've unhooked yourself. So, I really like this perk. I know it kind of divides opinion, and a lot of people are like, it's not the best and blah blah blah. I really like it. I think you can have a lot of fun with this perk, especially in sort of like meme builds. It's very good if you're playing in Survivor with friends, because if people know that you can unhook yourself, then they don't have to come off their objectives to come rescue you. So you could in theory still have 3 people pressuring generators, knowing fine well that you're going to unhook yourself. If the killer hasn't found anyone else, they're more than likely going to come back to that hook to try and find yourself or the other person. And in that entire time, those 3 people have still been working generators. You know what I mean? So I think it's pretty decent. The counter argument is that it's a waste of a perk slot if you get down first. So if you go down first, you can't use this perk at all, and it's basically you're playing the rest of the game with 3 perks. You know what I mean? You're going to be playing the rest of the game with 3 perks once you use it anyway. But as long as it's in your arsenal, you have it there to use. But if you go down and get hooked first, then you just can't use it at all, which is obviously a pretty major drawback. Right, Objective Obsession. So I'm going to talk about the new Objective Obsession that's coming out, that was announced in the PTB, rather than what's here just now, because obviously if you're going to get this, you're going to be getting it and more likely going to be using it with a new object change. So on the screen just now should be the details of the new Objective Obsession. So basically anytime your aura is revealed to the killer, their aura is revealed to you. And when that's happening, you get up to a 6% bonus to healing, repairing, and cleansing. If you are the obsession, your aura is revealed to the killer for 3 seconds every 30 seconds. So, this changed basically because previously it was if you looked in the killer's direction, you could see the killer up to 56 meters away, and then they could see you up to like 44 meters away, or so basically you just could see the killer at all times. And it was really, from a killer's point of view, it was miserable to go up against, right? There's no kind of skirting around it. It was a horrible perk to go up against if you were playing killer. And it was mainly used in a negative way by Survivor. So first of all, I just want to say I like this change off the bat. What the change in this perk allows you to do is it's still able to track the killer, because you still get the same benefits of seeing the killer at different points during the game. It now allows you to deduce what perks the killer's running, so you'll be able to know pretty easily if they're running Bitter Murmur, Barbecue and Chili, I'm All Ears, because of when their aura is revealed to you at points. And obviously because it's now, instead of the killer being able to see you constantly if they're looking in your direction within a certain like distance, basically you're able to kind of, since you're only there for 3 seconds, you could lure them to, as it says there, lure them to your position and sneak away and kind of send them on like kind of wild goose chases, if that makes sense. So again, pretty solid perk. Really happy about the change on both sides of the fence for killer and survivor. And I think that people will have a lot of fun with this, so I think it's a good perk. First killer perk on the shrine this week we're going to look at is Predator, which is a Wraith Teachable. Scratch marks left by survivors will spawn slightly closer together. I do not like this perk. It's just it can just be a personal thing. I just really do not like this perk. I think unless you're learning this game, this is actually going to work against you. So if you're new to Dead by Daylight, you've never played it before, or you're still in yellow ranks and you're having trouble learning tracking, Predator's a good perk because it makes scratch marks easier to follow. But I've talked about on my Twitch channel and other videos that you should really be following blood trails rather than scratch marks, because scratch marks can be deceptive. Blood trails will always lead you to the survivor. So it kind of gets you into the bad habit of tracking scratch marks and not blood trails for a start. But it will make it easier for new players to follow scratch marks and get used to following scratch marks. As an experienced player, it will probably actually go against you, because the closer together scratch marks can be really misleading. and can lead you to places where the survivor hasn't went just because of how close they go and they look as if they follow a certain trajectory. So I don't like this perk. I don't like this perk, and I don't think it's a particularly good one. If you're anything above yellow ranks, I wouldn't recommend buying this because there is just a million other better perks out there. And finally, we're going to look at Unnerving Presence. This again, I'm not a fan of this perk either. Again, it might just be a personal thing, but my viewpoint of it is... In fact, let's talk about what it does first, and then I'll talk about why I'm not a fan of it. So basically, anyone within your terror radius has a greater chance of triggering skill checks, and the skill check success zone is reduced by X%. It says obviously 40 there. So I'm not a fan of this because I feel that survivors are used to hitting like brand new part skill checks, decisive strike skill checks, everything like that. So a reduced skill check success zone isn't really going to do much against good survivors. You might catch people off guard on the first one because they're not expecting it, but after that you pretty much get zero value. It's another one like Predator that if you're a new killer and you're new coming into Dead by Daylight, it might help you be able to find people because they'll continually keep failing skill checks because they're not used to the skill check mechanic. But it's a very big gamble. I think it's a really big gamble to take, and I don't think you get much value out of it. Like, for example, like if I were to pick up Trapper today and I was only had Trapper's teachables and the common perks unlocked, this wouldn't be in my build. You know what I mean? That's my way of looking at perks and going, would I ever use them? If I wouldn't use them if I only had that killer's teachables, then I wouldn't recommend that perk, because I would have, for example, like Whispers, Sloppy, Brutal Strength, and Agitation. That, like, they would be the four if I had nothing else. If I had nothing else in the game, that would be what I'd run. Unnerving Presence wouldn't get a look in. So that's it. That's just how I feel. I mean, it can come in handy in some meme builds. Like if you're doing an impossible skill check Doctor, for example, Unnerving Presence can be quite good. Obviously because of the frequency that you're triggering skill checks, you're making your terror radius as big as possible, you're playing on a small map, that sort of stuff. It causes a lot of concentration for a sustained period of time for survivors, especially if you're playing against a streamer, for example. I am notorious for missing skill check because I'm reading chat. Like stuff like that, but it's really situational and it's a really big gamble. I'm just not a fan of it, guys. But again, if you're a new player, then there's no harm, no foul trying it out and kind of seeing what you think. So that's another Shrine discussion in the books, guys. I think it's a pretty straightforward one. If you're going to prioritise anything this week, I would prioritise the two Survivor ones. I would get Deliverance and get Object Obsession for the changes that are coming in. I wouldn't get any of the killer ones. If you're a killer main and you don't have those perks, I would probably just leave them and wait till next week's Shrine. Usually, so if I was hard pushed, like I usually do this every week. If I had to get one killer and one survivor, I would get Unnerving Presence for killer, and I'd probably get Deliverance for survivor. That would just be my personal choice and my recommendations. But yeah, it's been good again, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me as a new content creator with the algorithms. I stream a few times a week over on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/LuboATM. Come drop by and chat to me over there. I'd love to chat to you guys. And until I see you next time, peace.